all things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful. The Lord God made them all. These words sound like they're from a poem, but they're actually the beginning of a hymn written in the mid-1800s. Now, this hymn goes on to reflect about the beauty of the world we live in and the wonder of God's creation. It's a very beautiful song if you haven't heard it, but the second phrase in this line, all things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. This line, creatures great and small, has just lodged itself in my brain for my entire life, practically. I love creatures. I love nature, and growing up in kind of a rural area, I delighted in going outside into the backyard to see what I could find.
Pokemon?
Well, we'll get to that. So I would go out into the yard. I would catch butterflies, their earlier stage, caterpillars. I loved caterpillars. I would catch dragonflies, lizards, anything I could get my hands on, really. And one of the great joys of my childhood was finding a praying mantis chrysalis in the herb garden and watching as hundreds of praying mantis babies emerged from this chrysalis. Now, I know some people don't like bugs. They think they're yucky, they think they're kind of strange looking, and yeah, they can be a little dangerous if they bite or sting. But, as Quan mentioned, Pokemon, we're getting there. So, catching insects has served as inspiration to so many people, including the creator of Pokemon. So, this creator, he wanted to make a game that emulated his childhood memories of going outside and catching insects. And obviously, if you've played the games, it goes way beyond that. There's so much more happening in those games, but it retains this concept of going out, looking through an area to see what lives there, searching, and then taking notes, gathering data on the living creatures, and sending that information back to a professor who is doing research on the Pokemon. Now, you might see where this is going to be going, but we'll get to that in a minute. First, I want to talk about growing up in the US and going through the US education system. When I was going through the US school system, there was this very prevalent idea. You could almost say there was solidarity about it. in which people believed that science was hard. Science was hard. And it was not for girls. No. Girls can do many things, of course. They're very good at lots of things. But science and math, those are for boys. And it doesn't matter if you're good at it. It's really not something girls should pursue.
That doesn't add up.
Right? It's the most ridiculous idea. But for some reason, there was a very prevalent belief, and I believed it too. Which is a little bit strange because up until about 11th grade, my end of high school almost, I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Wow.
Yes. And that dream, yeah. No. When do people go to the vet? When do they go?
When they're sick.
They're sick.
When they're sick? No, when their pet is sick. was terrible. It was awful. One of the most common things they did was euthanize people's pets. Because what do you do when there's no treatment? You euthanize. I couldn't do it. Nope. So I went to college with no plan, no major, didn't know what I was going to do, and then, international studies and political science. A very different kind of science from chemistry or biology. And in college, I avoided science as much as I possibly could. I had to take one lab science that was required. What did I take? Geology. Rocks. Very safe. But I have circled back around. I am starting the Masters in Biodiversity program at National Taiwan University. In just a few weeks. And I can't wait to study Taiwan's creatures, great and small.